So I'm gonna be honest, coming home from college is lovely. I love my family a lot. I love being here. And it's nice to break up the mundaneness of college life. But it's a little hard to keep up my prayer life. Yeah, I've not been very dedicated lately to talking to Jesus as much as I should, which is a bummer because he's pretty cool. But the good thing is, he wants me near him more than I want him. No, he wants me near him more than I want him near me. Yeah, he wants me a lot. And he's been reminding me a lot lately about the absolute power that there is in simply praying. So we have a wonderful, wonderful priest named Father Vincent. He's this little old Vietnamese priest who has an amazing life story. If you ever come to Milan, Michigan, you should talk to Father Vincent because he's awesome. He was giving us a homily the other day, and he was saying that the best way to accompany someone through any suffering they're going through or anything like that is to pray for them, and how much power there is in the act of intercessory prayer. Intercessory, yeah. And so he was saying how he likes to go to hospitals to pray a lot, just to pray with people if they're suffering or in their last moments or whatever. And he found this wheelchair in the hallway and this guy in it, and he was like wailing himself, and he's like, "Oh, let me help you." And he like goes to help him, and he said, "I was dancing and whistling and being a funky boy," is what he said. I don't know why that's how he described himself, but it is. So he's Father Funky Boy now. But he was just saying how he was simply accompanying the person wheeling themselves down the hallway. They could have wheeled themselves down that hallway, but the act of him pushing him and being that funky boy, the joy in his life, really helped in that accompaniment. So I thought that really illustrated the power of prayer well, because by praying for people, we provide that joy for them in their lives. Second reminder, wow, this is going to be a long video. Second reminder that Christ gave me, my older brother, recently entered the Carmelite monastery, which is awesome. He's so cool and very impressive, and I'm really impressed and inspired. But he sent us back a letter, and you can just tell by this letter that he's so close to the Holy Spirit. He's in union with the Holy Spirit. You can see the fruits of joy and peace and everything in this letter. I'm just going to read you a little excerpt. Fun. He prays a ton. Like he was telling us his daily schedule. There's so much prayer. Okay. He says, "Sometimes I feel restless sitting still for so long, but usually it's really refreshing and peaceful to have that time. Sometimes it's hard because God stirs up something he wants to purify, an expectation of ourselves or of God or of others that he wants us to let go of, or some sorrow that needs to be healed, or something about ourselves that we don't want to accept. It is a time to turn to him in trust and let him work, even if we don't see what he's doing but just feel confused. Other times it's moments of joyful intimacy with Christ where we see that he truly loves me, delights in me, and will be faithful to me. Other times it's just good and peaceful, but nothing in particular seems to be happening. I've been thinking that it really is a lot like Mary's life. She spent a lot of time with Jesus, watching him grow up, talking to him, watching him. There were probably moments where, though she knew where he came from God, sorry, she didn't know where he was going. He's 29 years old and still is an unknown carpenter. When will he begin to save Israel? She just patiently watched and let the mystery unfold before her without demanding that she see the plan all at once. And then there are beautiful moments, those conversations between Jesus and Mary that not even the Gospels record. There's the ordinariness of the ordinary, and there are moments when, like Mary, we look at Jesus, look at the church, and just tell him the needs of souls. They have no wine. Even if we know that doing so may cause Christ to ask us to join him in the work of giving them some through sacrifice, as Mary's asking led to the biggest suffering of her life, joining the sacrifice Christ made of himself, the hour she hastened to come. That's simply the fruit of all the time he spends with Jesus. He gets to see all this truth and experience the beauty that is getting to know the heart of Christ. Christ loves me and you so much. Jesus is so cool. I just want to know him better. But the only way that's going to happen is if I spend time with him. So, challenge to you, challenge to me, up your prayer game a little bit. If that means going to adoration, going back to confession, trying to make daily mass a habit. The rosary is a great way to get to know Jesus. I don't know. Do what you can, but he really wants to see you. He loves your voice, and he loves your laugh. He wants to know what you are thinking about. Oh, I'll be right back. So I'm also in the middle of reading The Horse and His Boy. Confession that's probably going to get a lot of flack. I've never read the Narnia series. Till now. Yes, I'm 20 years old and I've never read the Narnia series. So, yes, I'm on Horse and His Boy. Love it. C.S. Lewis is amazing. But I was reading this part and I was like, it just now struck me that this has to do with prayer too. What the heck? Why do I need a 2 before? Just to hit me in the middle of the head. Okay, so I won't tell you the whole story. Basically, he's riding a horse and he's had a lot of bad luck so far in his life. And yeah, I'm just going to read it. I do think, said Shasta, that I must be the most unfortunate boy that ever lived in the whole world. Everything goes right for everyone except me. Those Narnian lords and ladies got safe away from Tashbaan. I was left behind. Arvis and Bree and Hwyn are all as snug as anything with that old hermit. Of course, I was the one who was sent on. King Loon and his people must have got safely into the castle and shut the gates long before Rabadash arrived, but I got left out. And being very tired and having nothing inside him, he felt so sorry for himself that the tears rolled out down his cheeks. What put a stop to all this was a sudden fright. Shasta discovered that someone or somebody was walking beside him. It was pitch dark and he could see nothing. And the thing, or person, was going so quietly that he could hardly hear any footfalls. What he could hear was breathing. His invisible companion seemed to breathe on a very large scale, and Shasta got the impression that it was a very large creature. And he'd come to notice this breathing so gradually that he had really no idea how long it had been there. It was a horrible shock. It darted into his mind that he had heard long ago that there were giants in these northern countries. He bit his lip in terror, but now that he really had something to cry about, he stopped crying. The thing, unless it was a person, went on beside him so very quietly that Shasta began to hope he'd only imagined it. But just as he was becoming quite sure of it, there suddenly came a deep, rich sigh out of the darkness beside him. That couldn't be imagination. Anyway, he had felt the hot breath of that sigh on his chilly left hand. If the horse had been any good, or if he had known how to get any good out of horse, he would have risked everything on a breakaway in a wild gallop. But he knew he couldn't make that horse gallop, so he went on at a walking pace, and the unseen companion walked and breathed beside him. At last he could bear it no longer. "Who are you?" he said, scarcely above a whisper. "One who has waited long for you to speak," said the thing. Its voice was not loud, but very large and deep. Are you a giant?" asked Shasta. "You might call me a giant," said the large voice, "but I am not like the creatures you call giants." "I can't see you at all," said Shasta, after staring very hard. Then, for an even more terrible idea had come into his head, he said almost in a scream, "You're not something dead, are you? Oh, please, please do go away. What harm have I ever done to you? Oh, I am the luckiest person in the whole world." Once more he felt the warm breath of the thing on his hand and face. "There," it said, "that is not the breath of a ghost. Tell me your sorrows." Shasta was a little reassured by the breath, so he told how he had never known his real father or mother and had been brought up sternly by the fishermen, and then he told the story of his escape and how they were chased by lions and forced to swim for their lives, and of all their dangers in Tashbaan, and about his night among the tombs, and how the beasts howled at him out of the desert, and he told about the heat and thirst of their desert journey, and how they were almost at their goal when another lion chased them and wounded Aravis, and also how very long it was since he had anything to eat. "I do not call you unfortunate," said the large voice. "Don't you think it was bad luck to meet so many lions?" said Shasta. "There is only one lion," said the voice. "What on earth do you mean? I've just told you there were at least 2 the first night, and there was only one, but he was swift of foot." "How do you know?" "I was the lion." So, sorry, this video is gonna be really long, but whatever. In the C.S. Lewis books, Aslan is supposed to represent Christ, and He had accompanied Shasta that whole way. Shasta didn't even recognize it until he saw that Aslan was a lion. Aslan wanted to know about Shasta's sufferings, even though he already knew them because he had been there in all of his moments of suffering. It's like Christ accompanies us in all of our moments, but he still wants us to tell him because he loves hearing our voice. Sorry for the long video. Watch it if it helps you. If not, well, I guess you've already watched it at this point if you're seeing me right now. Whatever. I hope you have a very joyful day. God bless you.
Oh my, this is real life. Get knocked down over 7,000 times. Here's your choice, stay long, walk it up and fight. Look at us getting up, up, up. Oh my,